What y'all gonna do? We'll cruise among the stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up off the wall. Yes, sir. Yo, life is full of options, switching all the time, but the quickest way from A to B is still a straight line. I ain't lying, that is science. I'm trying to explain, cause if you apply determination, you can do anything. You can put your mind to. Give me the audio chord so I can find something to ride to. We're about to fly to another planet. Is magical, what's real, like it's intergalactic. The way you make me feel, let's dip, cause we can fly in my starship, like Han Solo by the castle mine, like Cowboy Bebop with jet and spies, like Captain Kirk on the Enterprise. We can travel far, like the Dharma did in a Battlestar. I'm flinging haters like a catapult. You feel the heat, take it off, like what y'all gonna do? We'll cruise among the stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up off the wall. Yes, sir. Keep your windows down. Breeze hitting, you didn't know, but you know now. I'm not kidding, there ain't no stopping. BSing is not an option. I just wanna see everybody rocking. I wanna see you getting higher than a rocket. Land a spacecraft with Neil and Buzz Aldrin. She in the cockpit, cruising at an altitude up there where all the stars live. Take the TARDIS back to Gallifrey, we're the guardians of the galaxy. Like Superman and Lois Lane, go to Cybertron on the Astro train. I just want to see you do your thing. If you don't know now, then you'll learn. From the earth to the moon, influenced by Jules Verne. I'm not concerned about what y'all gonna do. We'll cruise among the stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up off the wall. Yes, sir.
Packing up for another trip. If you drive by my way, really there is no rush to this. We can rock night and day. Intergalactic love for this. Take me to outer space. Pick me up on that mothership so we can fly away.
I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to the sun.
Are we going somewhere?
I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to the summer. I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to the summer.
Where we going, baby?
Ooh. I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to the summer. Like
What y'all trying to do?
hey, 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 hey. What y'all gonna do? We'll cruise among the stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up off the wall. Yes, sir. Yo, life is full of options, switching all the time, but the quickest way from A to B is still a straight line. I ain't lying, that is science. I'm trying to explain, cause if you apply determination, you can do anything. You can put your mind to. Give me the audio chord so I can find something to ride to. We're about to fly to another planet. Is magical, what's real, like it's intergalactic. The way you make me feel, let's dip, cause we can fly in my starship, like Han Solo by the castle mine, like Cowboy Bebop with jet and spies, like Captain Kirk on the Enterprise. We can travel far, like the Dharma did in a Battlestar. I'm flinging haters like a catapult. You feel the heat, take it off, like what y'all gonna do? We'll cruise among the stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up off the wall. Yes, sir.
Okay, every Everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derek Jones about to break it down with the relationship gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy. Cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derek Jones, the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning in. Relationship gumbo, ayy.
Welcome back, everybody. I tell y'all this every week. It feel like I feel like I missed y'all from like 3-4 weeks ago, but it was just last week. Welcome back, y'all. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you go to the YouTube page, subscribe, click the subscribe button, click the bell. Put your thumb up in here if you like what you hear. And I welcome you again. Make sure that you are consistently out there staying safe. It's all kind of things flying around in the air. Just make sure that you are taking care of yourself and your family. Tonight's show is going to be an interesting one because we touch on this topic a lot, but I have a communication coach on here tonight. So I want to make sure that y'all get y'all right now. Make sure you got to subscribe. And second, don't just bring a friend, bring 5. Make sure you bring them in. Y'all know how I do. I want to make sure that y'all get this good content tonight. We're going to talk about this thing that's something that a lot of us need to work on still. We know a lot, but we need to learn more. And tonight we're going to learn some more. I'm very excited about this show. So make sure that you do that. Share, invite a friend. Call your grandma if you need to. She might need some of this work too. So, if you have not been here before, we are not just a video podcast. We are also an audio podcast. So that means you can listen to it in your car or your earphones. You can listen to it on your Fire Stick if you want to. We're on Amazon Music and iHeartRadio and Pandora. So basically everywhere you can get a podcast, we are there. The other thing that I want you guys to focus on is every single Monday, the crew of 5 gentlemen on the Real Shop Talk, we get it in on Mondays at 8 p.m. We talk about topics from a male slant, from a male point of view. We are community focused, we are family focused, and we have a mission to put a different narrative out there. We want to inject some positivity into the universe from whatever we can do and touch. So we definitely make sure that you go to realshoptalk.net, the website. You can get everybody's bio there, and you can also see the shows that are coming up. So make sure you stay tuned because we got the next few shows rolling into the whole rest of February is going to be amazing. So y'all make sure that y'all come. Make sure that you subscribe to that as well. Y'all know how I roll. I would not attach my name to something if it wasn't legit. So make sure that y'all come back and check that out as well. Check out the replays too. We got some good stuff there. So make sure you check that out. So without further ado, I normally run this show this way for the audio portion to be the way that it needs to be. I normally will pause for 3 seconds, start the actual podcast, and at the end, I will pause for another 3 seconds so that I can chop off the video on both ends and get that good audio for you. So without further ado, here we go. And welcome to another episode of the Relationship Gumbo Podcast. My name is Derek Jones, and I am your host. I'm a certified life coach, a certified relationship coach, an engineer, a strategist, and a mental health advocate. And tonight we have an amazing show. And my guess when she comes on, she probably knows that how serious communication is, or she wouldn't be a communication coach. But we all need this, y'all. So I'm excited about tonight. I'm going to bring her in and introduce her and let her tell you a little bit about herself, and we're going to get into this topic. And y'all know there's probably like a whole novel full of topics we can do. So we're going to do what we can tonight, and she may have to come back. I'm speaking that into the universe right now. So hold on. Let me get her in here and unmute her. So stand by. All right. I think she's unmuted already. Okay, cool. Welcome. This is Ravenwood. Again, here's a little, before I introduce you, Raven, here's a little factoid of the day. So y'all know that I keep my ear to the internet streets, the TikTok streets, the Clubhouse streets, and I run across people who have content that kind of make my ears perk up, make my eyebrows raise, and I'm like, this person really gets it. And my guest tonight, is definitely one of those people. This is also how I met Tony Massey, who's on the Real Shop Talk. See how this works, the networking works. And so tonight I'm gonna introduce you to another person that I think is extremely intelligent. She knows her stuff, and we are really gonna talk about this stuff tonight. So I'm gonna introduce you to Raven Wood. And what I want you to do, Raven, is I want you to introduce yourself and just tell them a little bit about what you do, and then we're gonna get right into the topic.
My name is Raven Wood. I'm from California and I am a relationship and communications coach.
Cool. And we actually one of my Real Shop Talk co-hosts, Rick Gunter, man, he's also a relationship coach. So we got a good network of folks. Y'all see how I'm speaking this into existence, right? We need her in the network, y'all. So we gonna welcome her in. So Raven, this communicate. I have one question for you. You're a relationship coach, but you also, I'm assuming, purposely decided to also be a communication coach. So I want to slant to the communication side. What made you make that an important part of what you do as a coach?
The reason I focus on communications is because that's a lot of the downfall and downbreak that we see in relationships where people they don't know how to communicate with each other and they're not able to express themselves, they can't understand each other. So that's kind of where relationships start, cracking and falling apart.
Right. I definitely agree with that. And the people that come on here all the time, I talk about it, but I talk about it as a piece of a puzzle, but I never really like focus on it. And that's what we're going to do tonight a little bit. So I have a couple bullet points and things just to make sure we stay on track. And so I'm going to just start down the list, and then I'm gonna let you chime in and let people know what your take on it is and your thoughts. So the first thing, and guys, this is literally what I did, right? Her stuff on TikTok was so good that all I did was I went to her TikToks and I just pulled the topics out of her TikToks. So we gonna talk about some of these things. So the first thing I want to talk about is, which I think the audience will find is important, is I believe you said something to the effect of, in order to communicate well, you have to be vulnerable, having
Yes.
vulnerability in communication. So I want you to speak to that a little bit.
With when you communicate with someone, you have to, and you want to fully express yourself, you have to be willing to trust them. You have to trust them with your emotions and um, just how you're feeling. To express yourself to someone, you have to be vulnerable. Otherwise, you will not be able to communicate with them. You won't be able to tell them how you think, how you feel, what you need, set boundaries. You have to be vulnerable in order to do that. And with vulnerability is, trust. It goes hand in hand. So you have to trust them with your emotions and your feelings. You have to trust that they will respect, the boundaries that you're setting, and all of it takes vulnerability.
Yeah, this one topic right here caused me pause because I don't think any of us think about it in that way. Like as we're
Mhm.
moving through life and we're having dialogue with friends, family, significant others, even in dating, certain
Mhm.
things that you may or may not want to share requires you to trust even in the early stages. So this part right here is something for people that's in the comments and people that are watching. You have to think about this trust that she's talking about, with the people that you decide to be vulnerable with and to share. And we always talk about how difficult it is to share, especially for men. Matter of fact, let's do this. Um, when you talk about vulnerability and communication, um, men, and I know you're not. I want to say this the right way. I know I'm not in the same generation that you're in. I'll say that.
Okay.
This question I'm gonna ask now, right? I'm doing all of this on the fly because I want to make sure that we get the most that we can get out of you. In your generation, do you find that
Mhm.
that it's a huge issue that men aren't vulnerable when they communicate, or do you think it's better now? Because I know in my generation we don't. like at all.
Yeah.
It's tough. So do you find it's still the same? I mean, that do you find that it's difficult, like the men that you've encountered in your life, that they share or they emote or whatever?
I feel like with my generation, it's everyone because it's more of a pride thing. People like, for example, when you don't want to double text or you don't want to text first, it's because your pride is getting in the way. So I
Hmm.
feel like people are so prideful, and in doing that, they're hiding their emotions and their true feelings because they don't feel that they can be vulnerable with the person that they're talking to.
Yeah. Yeah. See, ladies and gentlemen, she started off with talking about texting and double texting and like I don't. So that's how you could tell. Like even with the texting, the texting is even you have to be vulnerable just to be able to communicate that way,
Mhm.
which to me is just the weirdest thing ever. So yeah, so this is important. I need for you guys to kind of earmark that in your brains that when you communicate, not only are you having to be vulnerable, but you have to be aware that the other person is also has to be vulnerable in order for y'all to kind of meet in the middle. So
Mhm.
so that's a good one. I want people to really hang on to that because I don't think this is thought about when we're just kind of showing
Mhm.
emotion and doing whatever we're doing, and we don't think about maybe the other person is at a place where they have to become vulnerable and they may be a little hesitant and you think they just may not want to
Mhm.
talk to you or whatever, and then you get pissed off and then it turns into this thing. So I need for people
Mhm.
to understand that everybody isn't like you, and we talk about that a lot on this show. um, the other one that I liked was when you were talking about it. So I'm gonna read a couple of comments. Dope discussions live with Erica and Gator. She says double texting is a no for the new generation. Yeah.
Yes.
So, and she also says vulnerability is one of the biggest hurdles of communication. So,
Yes, it is.
um, so the next one that I like that you did that I want you to speak to is needing to vent versus um I guess needing a
Needing a
solution.
solution.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
speak to that for the audience.
So a lot of the times, like our friends might, call us and we're giving them advice. And then we get so frustrated because it's like, you don't want to help yourself, or why are you even call me? And you're not listening, you're not taking my advice. And the whole time they just wanted to vent. So
Hmm.
because you didn't establish what they needed, if they actually needed a solution, if they wanted advice, or if they just wanted you to listen. So when that happens, it's like you feel like you're wasting your time, and they
Hmm.
might feel like, well, you're not being a good friend because you're not listening, and that's what I called for. So a lot of the times when we talk to other people, we think that we're on the same page and we think we have the same expectations because we did not discuss and communicate what we needed from each other or what we
Hmm.
expected from each other. We just automatically assume that we're both on the same page. And a lot of the times that's not how it is. And that's where, communication falls apart and
Hmm.
then everyone's confused about everything.
So I'm gonna make a statement and then I'm gonna ask you another follow up question to this because the
Yes.
wheels are spinning. When you said communicate this to the party
Hmm.
that's on the receiving end, or even vice versa, I do know that I sometimes you'll have friends that say I just need to vent,
Hmm.
and they'll tell you up front, and then other times they'll just start throwing up on you and you don't even know, and you like I'm a problem solver, so as soon as you start
Hmm.
throwing up I want to solve it. And I do remember when I first started coaching I had a client that was like such and such a person hurt me and I don't know what to do. And I was like, well, first you need to do this and you need to start establishing, boundaries. And she was like, I don't want to hear all of that right now. I just want to be mad. I just want to get it out. And I was like, oh, my bad. Go continue. So it's very important that because she started getting mad at me because I'm
Hmm.
trying to fix it, and she just wanted to own the fact that she was pissed off in that moment for this thing that
Hmm.
just happened. And I was like, let her, because you're allowed to be mad. So I
Hmm.
just went into fix it mode, and she didn't want that at that time. And I was just like,
Hmm.
wow, like this was it was a learning point for me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so my follow up question to you is: have you ever in your personal life had a situation where there was some kind of like pushback because it wasn't stated, out loud, up front?
I don't, I'm kind of like you in that I'm a problem solver.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes when people don't communicate to me what they need, if they do want, someone to just listen, if they want to vent, um, I'm just like, okay, here you go, here you go, here you go. And then there's always a problem to the solution that I'm giving.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes that is frustrating, but we also have to realize that venting is like a de-stressor. Like it helps
Mm-hmm.
people like just get it off their chest. Like some people they like to play video games or they like to go out and have fun. And
Mm-hmm.
some people they just need to vent. They just need to get it off their chest.
Right.
And I think that's where the clash comes in for
Mm-hmm.
both people.
Right.
You can make each other frustrated.
Yeah, it's tough being a fixer in a world full of emotions. As fixers
Yes.
tend to be more logical. Um,
Hmm.
so that's a good segue into the next one. In communication, setting healthy boundaries in communication.
Hmm.
If you can give us like some examples of what that looks like what some healthy boundaries could be in a situation where maybe there aren't any, like even in this situation about the venting, like I don't mind you venting, but if that's all you're ever doing, I gotta absorb that all the time, and at some point I have to. So give us some examples, or maybe just talk to creating healthy boundaries when you communicate with other people.
Yeah, so in that situation, sometimes like I like that you brought that up. Sometimes we may not be in the headspace and to receive, all your venting, everything that you're gonna put on us. We might have a lot of stressors ourselves and we might not want to um, deal with what you have to say right now because we know we are stressed ourselves. So in that situation, I would just say the best thing about communication is just being open and honest and expressing how you feel. So you can say, I really can't listen to this right now. I'm dealing with some other things, or I'm busy, or I would really love to listen to you right now, but right now I'm just not in the headspace to do that for you.
Right. Yeah. This boundary thing is tough.
Hmm.
And I talked to you before the show, and I was like, a lot of people that I attract, like in my network and in my friend groups, they tend to be more introverted, and also in a lot of cases people pleasers, right?
Hmm.
Want to help, want to do the most to make sure everybody else is okay. And the downside of that is that, like I said before, it takes a lot from you without you being able to recharge and get it back. And what I've had to learn, even in my own, like with my parents, I've had to learn to tell them like, not now. Not, it's hard to do, but
Yes.
I had to put my foot down and really say, I don't have the mental capacity today to deal with any of this. I'm not coming by today. I know you need me to do something, but I can't do it today. And
Hmm.
I had to get to the point where I then started to have to do that in a lot of areas in my life, because I personally made myself into the person that was there for everything. And then for you to
Hmm.
go to certain areas of your life and say I can't be that anymore, it's a tough pill for people to swallow. So
Hmm.
um do you personally find it easy or difficult to create boundaries for yourself and for the people around you?
I feel that you gave the perfect example because I have actually experienced this in my own life. And I feel that it's easier to create boundaries with strangers because you don't know them, you don't have a relationship with them versus your family and friends where you've always been the yes man, yes, I got it, I could do this, I could do that. And now you have to set boundaries and you have to tell them no, I have to put me first. But in doing that, the hardest thing is telling them no, but you have to start with yourself, like your internal, you have to do internal workings like, I have to put me first. If I don't put me first, who will? I have to do the things that make me feel good. You have to work on yourself before you go out there and think that you can tell, your family and friends no when you're so used to telling them yes, because it is very difficult for people that are, people pleasers.
Right.
It seems easy, but it's really not. So you have to work on yourself first so that when you go and face them, you can say, okay, I put myself in this position and I'm going to stand on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna read a couple of these comments. Love Tucker says that when she needs to create a boundary, she says my emotional bandwidth is at capacity. Check back later. Dope Discussions Live says boundaries are so important when you have someone who loves to vent often but are not open to any solutions.
Yes.
So very true, very true. That's another point. Sometimes even when you try to give them solutions, they're not open to even hearing a solution from you. They just want to
Hmm.
exist in that. Jessica Quintero says
Hmm.
boundaries are such a hard thing to do, especially when you're such a people pleaser. It's well worth it though. Yeah, it definitely
Yeah.
is. On the other side of it, you can breathe. You can breathe again. It's such a freeing feeling to be able to know that you can erect boundaries. Even in coaching, you really
Hmm.
have to create boundaries because we have to give so much of ourselves to help people. I talk about this all the time, and people don't realize it. They just want to take,
Hmm.
give me this coach, give me this coach, give me this coach, and you
Hmm.
don't realize that in order for that coach to here's a nice little bridge. The coach, in order to communicate with you effectively, has to become vulnerable enough to meet you where you are to be able to, and with that vulnerability, we then when we disconnect with you, we have to recharge, and a lot of people don't
Hmm.
realize that. So so here's the note, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about providing solutions for people versus venting and really just having a dialogue and saying, like, sometimes you don't know what they want, and maybe they don't even know what they
Hmm.
want. But there is a point in the conversation where you can say, "Did you just want to vent?" And then they can say yes, and then you can allow that
Hmm.
to happen if you have the capacity to take it in. Um, and then maybe somewhere towards the end of it, you can say, "Would you like my advice?" Like
Right.
these things that sound so simple, but when you tell somebody or when you give them the choices, then they have the option to choose yes or no, and then you can keep it moving or you can stay and give them the solution, but at least it doesn't become
Hmm.
tumultuous. Um,
Yeah,
I'm
I
sitting.
always say, like,
Mhm,
when you're talking to an adult, when you're having a conversation with another adult, it's best to always give them options so that
mhm,
they don't feel like you're choosing something for them,
right,
because that's when you really will start bumping heads.
right. Yeah. I'm gonna see. I'm looking at where I need to go. It's one of them I know that people really that we talk about a lot, but I want you to touch on. But we gonna save that one because that one's gonna be a big one. Pride in
Yes.
communication. Um, a lot of us have a lot of pride that allows us to not communicate effectively. How does pride play into um, communication, and then how does someone who has a lot of pride, how do they what would they need to do to start to try to turn that around?
Well, my favorite saying that about pride that I like to tell everyone who is very prideful is that you're prideful with nothing to be proud of, to kind of humble people a little bit, because a lot of people, a lot of us are very prideful, but what do you really have to be proud of? I think it's beneficial to be humble because you get a lot done and you communicate with more people when you're humble versus pride, because pride is like a roadblock in communication. It's like your roadblock to vulnerability. Like, oh, I'm so prideful. I'm not going to apologize. I'm not going to tell you how I'm feeling. I'm not going to do this because I'm so prideful. And that gets you to accomplishing nothing. Nothing gets
Hmm.
accomplished when you're very prideful. So you're prideful with nothing to be proud of.
Yeah, yeah. I know for a fact that this is something that a lot of people feel like. And a lot, you know, a lot of people that are really prideful can't even tell you that that's what their issue is because they're so immersed in the feeling
Mm-hmm.
of it. But I find a lot of people who have a whole lot of pride. It's a tough cookie to crack. Like they don't want
Yes.
to hear it. They're real stubborn. But just like anything else, once you acknowledge it, then you now have a point to try to see where you could possibly work on it, and that's when you know, sometimes you may need to go see a therapist, you know, get a
Mm-hmm.
coach, somebody else to kind of see you from the outside and kind of push you in a, you know, help you push into a direction where you can be more vulnerable.
Right.
See how I did that? So let me get these couple comments and then we're gonna keep going down the list. Uh Love Tucker says the tone helps when you ask also because if you say it with an attitude because you're impatient, that will
Mm-hmm.
cause another problem. Yes. So
Yes.
while I'm kind of looking through this stuff, let's talk about how tone plays into communication. What's your take on that?
Yes. I feel like tone matters over your words because you can say the same words in a different tone and it will be received differently. Going
Hmm.
back to text messages. So, text messages, we don't really have a tone. So, we kind of put that in our head, like how someone is speaking to us.
Hmm.
And so, there's like a break in communication because we can't hear the tone. And sometimes we get confused and we think, like, oh, they meant something, this way. And they're like, no, that's not how I meant it. I was, trying to be positive about it or, but because you can't hear the tone there, there's kind of like the break and it
Yeah,
gets
yeah.
confusing.
People already know I'm the tone police, so I'm not even gonna go there. Volume bothers me. Um, the next couple of comments, one says from Dope Discussions, it says it's best for both parties to ask permission before venting and before offering advice. Yep,
Yes.
very true. Not often done, but very true. Very true. But that's why we're here. We're here to enlighten and hopefully somebody will hear this and say, yeah, I need to do that. Because some people just they dump on people like as a part of their day. It's just every day they're just like blah blah blah, and the person that's receiving it doesn't know how to tell them to stop sometimes, and that's also a problem.
Yeah.
That's the boundaries we were talking about. So
Mm-hmm.
um, Dope Discussions Live says pride was my biggest downfall. Yeah, yeah. At hindsight, man. But when you're in it, it's tough.
It is.
Me and my wife was just talking about this next one earlier. Ironically, the matching of energies. Um, and you had a TikTok about
Yes.
matching. And so speak. I'm gonna just let you speak to it. You did the TikTok, so I'm gonna let you go.
Yes. Okay, so a lot of people say like, "Oh, I'm gonna match your energy if you do this to me," or if you're rude, I'm gonna, be rude back. But that kind of like you lose yourself in doing that. You lose your character because if you're humble or if you're professional, if you're, trying to carry yourself a certain way or you have, a certain you just are a certain way all the time and you're trying to match this person's energy, that's going to take you all the way out of character. And
Hmm.
so you end up, losing yourself trying to match all these different energies that you interact with and you're this person over here, you're this person over there, and you've interacted with 20 different people today, and you've changed your energy 20 different times, or changed your tone, or the way you carry yourself because you're trying to treat everybody how they treat you instead of staying in your character, being who you are, so that people can have their own unique experience with you versus having an experience with themselves, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I know a lot of people do it, and we may not realize we're doing it where we
Mm-hmm.
change into a different person depending on where we are, who we're with. Instead of just maintaining your own integrity and being your organic self, you have to switch. And a lot of people, a lot of us do it at work every day. They
Mm-hmm.
call it code switching. We go at work
Yep.
and we try to be something else to appease whoever. And I'm not saying don't, I'm not telling you not to do it and go to work and turn up tomorrow because we y'all not putting that on me. I'm just saying sometimes we have to do it. And in a lot of cases we
Mm-hmm.
don't have to do it. And some of us it's we've built that into a part of who we are,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll find a lot of people even once they get older in their 30s and their 40s, and they'll say, I don't even know who I am. I never even thought
Mm-hmm.
about figuring out me. um
Mm-hmm.
and that's a huge, like, let's keep it real. A lot of the people that's in the comments are not 20 or 30, and we spend a lot of our lives just trying to survive and do whatever, and then you hit 40 and it's like, yo, like, I need to figure this out. I don't know who I am. I never even
Mm-hmm.
thought about it because that rat race and paying the bills and the kids and all this other stuff, and it's like, what do I
Mm-hmm.
really want to do with my life at 40?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's important for you to really spend time getting to know yourself and what you like and all, because this, once you know who you are, then you can communicate better with people. um
Right. And it's always good to have like a close, someone that you're close with, a close friend with, because when you start, switching energies or, being someone else or talking a different way, or they can call you out on that and you have to be able to receive that. I even had a close friend to me say, I didn't notice I was doing it. Every time I talk to you, you're always talking about yourself. And I was like, whoa, now that's something that I received. And I had to say, okay, let me try to be different. When someone reaches out to me, let me, be a better listener,
yeah.
because communication goes both ways. Let me make this about them instead of sharing my own experiences, because we feel like we have so many different experiences that relates to someone else. So, we're always just, going, going, going. You know what I mean?
Yep,
So
yep.
it's
Yeah,
it's always good to have someone close that can call you out on your, and be like, hey.
yep, yep, yep. You're right about that. You're right about that. Because I know, I'm aware of, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people have experienced, having a friendship where that friend always talks about themselves, and you're always the
Hmm.
receiver, and you really get the short end of the stick all the time. And I
Hmm.
know a lot of people can relate to that. Um, and it sucks to have a friendship like that because you're not getting anything out of it other than being a
Hmm.
sounding board for that person. Um,
Right.
and that's where you have to then, hopefully at some point speak up and say, hey, wait. Did you want to know how my day
Hmm.
went too? Like,
Right.
what are we doing? We've been here 30 minutes and you still talking about you. So yeah, I've been
Hmm.
guilty. I think I've been guilty of that. Even in dating, people
Hmm.
just want to talk about themselves the whole time, and you're
Hmm.
like, what are we doing? Like,
Do you want to know
do I
about
get to
me?
say, yeah? Um, so this next one, I want to spend a little bit of time here, and I know it's something that's close to you. We're going to talk about anxiety,
Yes.
anxiety in the relationship, and or a lot of people deal with stress too.
Hmm.
How do you function when you're in a relationship and you have this going on and still need to communicate effectively with your partner? Like, how does that concert of things work together so that you can still have a productive relationship, but also deal with the fact that you have this anxiety or stress or whatever going on?
Hmm. So sometimes, even with anxiety, like
Wait, wait, wait,
at
wait,
one
wait,
point,
wait, 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 wait. Before you do that, right? Let's make this make sense. I want you to tell people your personal anxiety, a little bit about you, what you deal with it, and then we can go and talk about. I need for
perfect.
this to hit home because I know it's gonna touch
Yes.
some folks. So I apologize for stopping you, but I want people to know that you personally deal with it.
Yes, I do. So when I was in the military, I was diagnosed with severe anxiety and panic disorder. So that means I also have panic attacks. I have had a panic attack at work, and passed out while I was pregnant, had to get rushed to the ER. Was going to mental health, just didn't know how to express myself or talk to anyone. I felt like nobody took me seriously, nobody understood what I was going through. Um, I feel like I'm going crazy in my head, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone's just like, this is normal. And I'm telling them this is not normal.
Mm-hmm.
um, I've even had an episode where my heart was just going for like 2 days and I had to rush to the ER and my heart rate was like 138 or somewhere around there. And the doctors couldn't get me to calm down. And I had to get medication intravenously to like just calm me down. So I have
Mm-hmm.
severe anxiety
Mm-hmm.
issues. Um, and I also, when I got out of the military, I wrote an anxiety diary to kind of help people get their thoughts together and help control their anxiety better. Because sometimes it can feel like nobody understands you and you
Mm-hmm.
cannot get it out. With that being said, there was a point in time where I had to sit my husband down and say, like, I feel like I am losing my mind. I can't tell you how I feel. I don't have the words, but I just feel like this. Like I did
Mm-hmm.
that. I just feel like this because I have no words,
Yeah.
to tell you. So I feel like when your partner is going through something like that, the best thing you can try to do is be understanding and say, what do you want from me? What is it
Mm-hmm.
that I can do? Can I do the dishes for you today? How can I help your load? Like, do you need anything? How are you feeling? Is it an off
Mm-hmm.
day for you? You know, things like that. And my husband is really good. We've been together for a couple years, but he's really good at just catering to my feelings and to my emotions. However, that can get tiring for the other partner. So they might, need to say like, I'm not in a place to handle this right now. I understand that you're going through it, but just, give me time to adjust
Mm-hmm.
so that we can adjust to each other. And that anxiety is a big one.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to make sure that people understood your perspective and actually, going through it. This is huge in a sense, and it's under the mental health umbrella, and that's why I
Hmm.
wanted to also point out stress too. The biggest piece to what you said was having the ability to say, I'm you don't without having to be too verbose. I'm going through something right now, to signal to that
Hmm.
partner that it's not about you. I am going through something right now. I need a minute, or and then that partner can say, do you need anything from me, without attacking
Hmm.
or trying to force anything out of you? Is there anything I can do to help? Especially if it's something that they've seen you go through, a certain amount of times, they already kind of know what they should be doing and
Hmm.
what their position is. But sometimes, you know, your mood may be different, or you may be behaving different, and that partner could take it personally, and then it becomes this thing when all you could have said was, I just need 10 minutes, honey.
Hmm.
Give me a minute. I'm having an anxiety attack, or I'm doing what I've been through a lot today. Give me a few minutes, and then that disarms the partner from being kind of defensive and trying to assume that it's about them, and it's not. And then for
Hmm.
that partner to have the know-how from you guys having dialogue and having vulnerable communication and all of these other things, then they can say,
Hmm.
I got you, babe. I'm gonna give you your space, or I'm gonna do what I need to do to make you feel comfortable, and then you don't have to worry about all of that fighting and all of the stuff that we know happens. And a lot
Hmm.
of it is just you opening your mouth and saying, I don't know what it is, but I'm not 100% right now. Just give me some time
Hmm.
and let me breathe. And it's as simple as that. Most of the stuff in this communication, and I know you can attest to this, it's not like these are hard tasks to do. You're gonna have to really
Work on
decide
it.
to make a change, if you want better results, and that's just a life lesson.
Hmm.
But I definitely wanted to stay there for a second, because I wanted people that are actively going through this, that might be listening. There's certain things that you can say and do to kind of ease the tone of whatever's going on in your household, because everybody's household isn't quiet. Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
And also, I
mhm,
wanted to add that you have to, like, the partner, with, mental health issues or extra added or, you know, added on stress. you have to know what you want so that you can communicate that. Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you're like, oh, they're not doing, this and this and this, but you have to know what it is that you need, because some people might like extra space, but someone else might want someone there with them. So you have to figure out first what it is that helps you so that you can
Mm-hmm.
communicate to your partner, because if you don't know, then you'll just end up flashing on them and nothing gets solved because
Right.
you didn't know what you needed and what would help you in that situation.
Yep. Yep. I'm gonna take a second to read a couple comments here. Shamika says tone is key and it matters the most in some situations. Yep. Um, it's Asjai. I don't want to mispronounce it. If I did, I
Aji,
apologize. Oh, that's one of your folks.
yes.
Okay, cool. Having poor communication with your partner can also cause anxiety. Yes, yes.
Hmm.
I have stories. Because if your partner doesn't receive or react to what you're saying appropriately, it makes expressing yourself harder. Yes.
Hmm.
This I'm not going to talk about it today, but that what this person just said is absolutely true. Um, it's the poor communication can cause you to have anxiety. It doesn't even have to be you already having existing anxiety issues.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I got stories to tell, but it's not gonna happen tonight. But yes, I can attest to that. My man from the Real Shop Talk, John Singletary, says, "Go Air Force." So,
Yes.
um, um, so let's keep it moving. We got a couple more to go. Two big ones actually. Let's do it in this order. So I know a lot of people, we talk about this sometimes, but I want to hear from her mouth. Listening to understand versus respond. I want you to speak to that, the nuances of that, and like why it's important to do one or the other.
Um, so when we get into arguments, we're just trying to get our own point across. So we stop listening. Taking it back to when we communicate with each other, we need to listen. That's a big part of communication. So if I'm only, listening to you so that I can get my point across, then you're going to go nowhere. You have to understand where the other person is coming from. Both of you have to meet, at a common ground. You both need to understand where the other person is coming from, because that's the only way anything will get solved.
Yeah, this also is a heavy topic, for a lot of people, and this is something that if people really understood this, it would change the whole trajectory of their relationship. Just this one thing, um, because a lot of people in it, and I'm included in this. Like I've struggled with just wanting to be right and wanting to get my point across, and not really paying attention to validating the other person's, how they feel, and just wanting to get my stuff
Mhm.
off. And it's hard to retrain yourself to kind of like just hold it back a little bit, and listen and hear what the other person is really
Mhm.
getting out. And I'm sure that you have some exercises that can help people with that. So, but we'll push people to you, later.
Mhm.
The next place that we want to go is love languages. And we know that they have the five love languages and whatever. You could take the test and figure out which one what's your primary and all of that, right?
Mhm.
When you're in a relationship, here's my question to you: when you're in a relationship and you feel like your partner is not loving you the way that you need to be loved, what's a good way to let them know that, hey, this is my love language? I'm gonna let you finish it, but I want you to kind of give people, um maybe a way, or if there's multiple ways, to be able to tell your partner that you're not being served in that way properly.
Right. So I actually dealt with this from some clients where they actually did not understand love languages and they were loving each other through their own love languages.
Mm-hmm.
So, acts of service, and somebody else needed quality time, but it was, switched. So, um, the one of the clients told me, well, if he was doing this, this, and this, I would be cooking, I would be cleaning, I'd be doing laundry and all that.
Hmm.
And I said, well, he's doing that for you. So that's how he's showing his love. So you have to tell him, this is what I need. I need quality time. I need you to come home from work and spend time with me. I need you to spend an hour a day with me. I want to talk to you. I want to go on a date with you once or twice a month or 4 times a month, whatever you need. So you still have to be able to communicate and trust that your partner is going to listen to you,
Hmm.
what you need. Because if their love language is acts of service and they're doing acts of service to make you happy, you're not going to be able to receive that if your love language is quality time because they haven't been giving you quality time. Instead, they've been folding your clothes. So you
Yeah,
kind of have to both be on the same page and say, this is what I need from you, not this.
yeah,
I don't, you know.
yeah. So let me play a character real quick.
Mhm,
So what if this person, say it's a man, and he's doing
mhm,
all of the acts of service, um, and he's doing that for you, but that's not your love language, and you say, hey, honey, this is my this is what I really need from you. I need quality time from you, and he says, you should know I love you because I wash your car every day, every time it's dirty, and I pump your gas for you. And what do you need all this extra stuff for? Like you not happy? What? I don't understand why you need this now. I don't get it. Like so
mhm.
now in this type of way, is there a way for you to kind of? And I know some people are stubborn, but is there a way to speak to this type of person to help them understand better what that really means? Because I think sometimes they think that what they're doing isn't appreciated.
Mhm.
So I want you to kind of like maybe give me like a way that you would kind of come back at a person who feels that way.
Right. So, people in general, but especially men, they love to feel appreciated.
Hmm.
So, if you're doing something for a person and they're not receiving it, that makes you not want to do anything at
Hmm.
all. So, your partner should say, I appreciate you washing my car, and I really thank you so much for doing the dishes or doing the laundry, but do you mind, spending some time with me? Or do you mind going on a date on Saturday at 5 p.m. to this place? So it's not because sometimes we don't understand, but we also have to let our partner know that we are grateful for the things that you are doing. However, my needs are not being met.
Hmm.
And I think that opens up people's eyes versus you're not doing this, you're not doing that, but
Yeah.
you're not realizing the things that they are doing.
So here's another. As the thoughts float, y'all can see the wheel spinning. So the person who needs the quality time in this scenario,
Mhm,
they're talking to one of their girlfriends, and they're like, he's not giving me what I need. He needs he needs let's say you're the girlfriend. He and the girl
mhm,
and the woman is talking to you, and she says, I need for him to give me more quality time, but he's not doing what I need for him to do. And then you
mhm,
say, well, just let him know what you need, tell him you appreciate what he's doing, right? What you just said. And then she
mhm.
says, well, I got to do that for a grown man. He's supposed to know that that's what he's supposed to do. I need for you I need for you to give me your first reaction to what I just said.
It's so funny that you're saying this because it's like you're reading my client. So, I've actually gotten that. And what I say to that person is, you need to focus on yourself. You need to find what makes you happy because we can't just be happy in our relationships. We have to also be happy with ourselves. So go spend some quality time with yourself and still try to work with your partner and let them know, this is what I need. Can you do this? Or, you can set up, okay, he came home from work. I have dinner right here on the table. We're going to sit and talk. So just try to set it up yourself, but also make sure you're meeting your own needs so that your happiness isn't solely, reliant on your partner.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people have the expectation that you should just know, that you should read
Mm-hmm.
my mind and know. And if you don't act upon what I think you should know, what I'm thinking, then I'm gonna be
Mm-hmm.
mad at you. And then the person
Right.
on the receiving end is like, but I watch the cars
What
though.
happened?
I watch the
Yeah.
cars. I make sure that she has everything she needs so she can feel safe. What the hell?
Yeah.
Why is she pissed off at me? I don't get it. And the person that's pissed
Mm-hmm.
off a lot of times is oblivious to the fact that this person doesn't
Mm-hmm.
know what's going on. And that's
Yeah.
why on this show, when I coach, you have to like I always tell people, you got to talk to each other sometimes in the beginning like you're 2 years old. Like, I don't know, you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna have to lay it out for me so we don't have to really have to
You have
fight
to.
about it.
Mm-hmm.
So any thoughts on
You
that?
have to really, yeah, you have to communicate. That's my thing. Communicate, communicate, communicate. Any little thing that you need, you have to say, that's what I want. Today, I want you to go to the grocery store and pick up this brand of milk and sit and drink milk with me. Like, it has to be, sometimes step by step.
Hmm.
You have to let them know exactly what you want so that your needs can be met. And then after letting them know and it starts to fail, you can sit down and say, where's the breakdown? What are we going to do now? Because I've told you this is what I need, and I feel like you're dismissing me. And
Hmm.
so that has to be a conversation there.
Yeah, I really that whole mind reading thing, it amazes me sometimes that, and I, you know what else I've heard, it's kind of funny, not funny, but someone will say, I wanted to see what your reaction was or what you were going to do without me telling you, to see how in sync we are.
Yes. And then they get mad.
Yeah, they get mad when it doesn't match up. It
Yes.
it's a trigger for me. I don't understand. I don't understand.
Yeah,
So
and
mhm,
that we see a lot of women do that. A
yes,
lot of women think you should just know. And
yeah,
then that it goes into the, oh, guys, they're so dumb, you know what I mean? And it's like, no, you didn't communicate what you wanted,
right,
how you were feeling, how this would make you feel. You have
yeah.
to tell them exactly what you want.
Yeah, Dope Discussions Live said you should just know is a deflection from our own communication shortcomings. So yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Let's see here. Did we touch everything? We touched the whole list already. Well, it is an hour, so maybe that worked out perfectly. Um, so let's close by doing this. On communication as a whole, what do you think a few of the biggest things that people should know, but a lot of people don't practice? We may have talked about it, but just kind of hit a couple points.
Honesty. Honesty is the biggest one. Vulnerability, being in touch with yourself and your own feelings so that you can communicate effectively.
Yeah, those are definitely important. The other thing I wanted to do too, as we close, guys, make sure that if you have people that needed to hear this from the beginning, make sure that you send them this. And also, what I wanted to say about this interaction, right? Because now here's my shameless plug. I want you to, number one, I want you to tell people how they can contact you or find you on social media, and then I have a few things I want to say.
So you can follow me on Instagram at Ravens Corner. It's spelled with the extra E in there. So if you can see my name, it's Ravens Corner. And then also on TikTok, Ravens Corner. And I also have an email address, ravenscorner@gmail.com.
Cool. So, guys, make sure you write that down, and I'll put it in the show notes as well, so you can contact her and really get better at communication, relationships, all that stuff. It goes in together. So here's what I want to say, guys. In my community that's listening, um, we gotta get Raven out here, y'all. Get this communication game. So if y'all need her on y'all platforms, please reach out to her in her DMs. And and this is what I want to point out to the people that are listening. You not only have a communication coach here, you have someone that is, I'm not going to tell her age, but she's not in my generation. She's younger. She's married. She's a young married woman who's also a communication coach. So you guys have a lot of areas to pull from. So make sure y'all hit her up. Cause we may have to do another show about not necessarily unloading your particular relationship, but just being your age and being married, which is like a unicorn in 2022. So that's a whole nother. If any of y'all want to grab that topic, feel free before I get it. So on that note, this was a good show. We're gonna figure out how to implant you into some of these other shows that I'm attached to. So I'm gonna be talking to some folks because we really need to talk about communication. We need to talk about relationships, and we really need to get perspectives from people that are from your generation, which is the even bigger thing, that actually get it. Like, that's not out here trying to fight everybody. I have so many questions about that I can't even do on the communication show. So we're gonna have to I might get somebody else to do that topic, because anyway, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
We'll see you again. And everybody, just make sure that you go to, as usual, the relationshipgumbo.info website. You can find me everywhere there. Make sure you connect to the Instagram. I think I'm gonna pop up again tomorrow with something else amazing. See, you're invited to Dope Discussions Live. So see, there's one already. Yay. So, and Erica is a good one to connect with as well. Everybody is, like, the whole crew is amazing. So I really have to say that I'm proud of the people that I've connected with, and they're saying thank you, Raven. So yeah, we gonna keep this train moving, man. So on that note, we're gonna wrap it up. Everybody be safe, take care of yourself and your family, your loved ones, and come back next week. I believe, what are we doing next week? Next week, oh yeah, we're gonna talk about, I have another guest that I met on TikTok. And TikTok is the gift that keeps on giving. I have another guest that's coming on next week from TikTok, and we're gonna talk about people whose egos and their money tied together turn them into something else. And they really need to check their egos as they start to attain that money, and how that plays into their personal relationships. So we're going to have a good show on that one. So yeah, everybody have a good night. I will see you soon. Check that Instagram. I'm definitely doing a pop-up tomorrow, but it's a pop-up, so I can't tell you what time, but it'll probably be midday. It's going to be something impactful and powerful. So make sure that you connect to the Instagram. And that's it. And that's all. You guys have an amazing night, and I will see you next week.
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derrick Jones about to break it down with the relationship gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy, cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derrick Jones the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning in.